I was in a band living on this farm and met these devotees that were looking for a place to live. So I introduced them to my landlord, who was up from the city. I went to say hi to them once they were all moved in, and they were playing Prabhupada's album, where he's smiling on the cover. Mm-hmm. And I said, what is that? And they go, this is the Swami. He's really high on spiritual stuff. I go, oh. Then they turned the album over and they go, this is God. He's got a girlfriend and his own planet. And I thought, of course. If I was God, I'd have my own planet and a girlfriend, They sent me in the basement for something a few days later, and there was a guitar down there, an acoustic guitar, like a classical, So when I came back up, I said, hey, there's a guitar down there. And the devotee said, oh, do you play? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, go get it. We'll use it in the kirtans. The temple president there told me that Kirtan wanted me to go to New Vrindavan to join a road show and play music, So that's what I did.
And what did Prabhupada think about your style of sharing Krishna consciousness with the arts and contemporary music?
Well, he was tapping his cane to the music, so I think he liked that part of it. Lord Chaitanya's moon is rising. No, it's not at all surprising that we're singing in the street, telling everyone we meet we're going home.
From Alachua, Florida, this is Nectar Talks.
In collaboration with Krishna.com.
And in service to our Bhakti community.
Welcome to our studio. Welcome to Nectar Talks.
Well, thanks for having me.
Mangalananda Prabhu is another legend. I got to interview Yadubar Prabhu a couple of weeks ago. Now I get to interview you.
Who I got to work with many years ago.
And Yadubar Prabhu actually mentioned that you had helped score some of his early films, write some music for them.
Oh, he did? Okay, yeah. A Spiritual Frontier, stuff like that.
So Mangalananda Prabhu is a singer-songwriter, one of the early singer-songwriters in ISKCON. And I grew up listening to some of your music when we were in Gurukula. The only non-traditional, like kirtan music we were allowed to listen to was your music, basically.
Oh, okay.
So we had that playing throughout our childhood growing up, all those wonderful songs. So I usually start by asking our guests to share a little bit about their backstory, your upbringing, your childhood, and kind of what got you started on your spiritual quest. How did you end up becoming a devotee, but, starting with your childhood?
Well, I was raised Catholic. My parents were Catholic. Edward and Gabrielle Cassidy. And I was their only son. And, was raised in the Catholic Church. We went to church on Sundays, that kind of thing. So I just had that sense of that there was God and we're supposed to pray to Him.
And whereabouts?
This is in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think I developed a New Hampshire accent. My dad was military, and we traveled, quite a bit. My mother passed away when I was 5, and then my father was traveling, and I lived with my different aunts, my mother's sisters, and brother. So I did that till I was 10, and then I went to live with my dad. He said he waited till I was big enough to wash the dishes.
And how did you get into music, and what were some of your early influences?
Well, I saw this guitar. Well, first I went to my cousin's wedding, Roger, and there was a band there, like a little doo-wop band kind of. They were playing just 50s music, and I was very impressed with that, so I wanted to get a guitar. And then when my dad would come to visit, from wherever he was stationed, he would fly back to see me. And we were in town and went past a pawn shop, and there was a guitar in there, and I said, "Oh, I'd like to get that." So he bought it for me, and that was my, beginning of playing guitar. And the aunt that I was living with at the time, my Aunt Elaine, she got me guitar lessons at the local music store. So I forget what grade I was in. I think third grade, and I played at the Christmas, thing. I played Silent Night. That was my song. Single note. Da, 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 da. So it was, that was how I started. And musically, I on guitar, I liked, of course, the Ventures and Duane Eddy and things like that back in the late 50s, early 60s. And then of course, like everybody, I was influenced by the Beatles when they came out. And then lyrically, I like Joni Mitchell and Bob Dylan and Leonard Cohen and that kind of stuff.
So as you were growing up in your teenage years, did you play in a band, or how did you?
Oh, I had a band in junior high. Yeah, we did surf music, and then in high school I had different bands, And the first time I heard, I had a friend who was a drummer. That was, he was playing regular gigs around, as we were, but we were just a high school band. We played at the Firehouse and different places. But he had come back from the village, and he had a Hare Krishna album with the chanting on it, He goes, "You got to hear this stuff." And so he played that. So that's the first time that I heard, the Maha Mantra.
And that was what year?
That would have been 67, 68, something like that. I graduated in 69 from high school. And then played music, and I was in a band living on this farm, and met these devotees that were looking for a place to live. So I introduced them to my landlord, who was up from the city. He had an Airstream that he kept up there by the farm I was living on. And there was a house in the back that he wanted to rent. So I introduced them, and then I went to say hi to them once they were all moved in, and they were playing Prabhupada's album, where he's smiling on the cover. Mm-hmm. And I said, what is that? And they go, this is the Swami. He's really high on spiritual stuff. I go, oh. Then they turned the album over, and they go, this is God. He's got a girlfriend and his own planet. And I thought, of course. If I was God, I'd have my own planet and a girlfriend, So it made sense,
Yeah.
I have to say.
Do you remember who those devotees were? Or do we know them?
They were those devotees. I can't say I remember their name, but they were just hippies, really, that like Krishna.
Okay.
And then they invited their friend to come and live at the farm. There was an apartment in the farmhouse, and that was my wife. No,
Jean Greenberg.
Sanjay, yeah, Jean Greenberg.
Jean Greenberg.
So they came, and they'd have like a Sunday feast, and read from Bhagavad Gita. And they were the ones I went with to the village. We were living near Walden, New York, near Newburgh, and we drove down to the village, and I got my Bhagavad Gita, I remember going in the store in the village, and I said, I want a Bhagavad Gita. And he brought me over, and he goes, these are the Bhagavad Gitas, you know. And Gene was back there, and I said, there's a lot of Bhagavad Gitas. And he goes, Bhagavad Gita as it is. I go, oh, okay. So that's the one I bought.
And the rest is history.
Yeah, pretty much, you know.
So at what point did you decide that this was for you and you wanted to move in with the devotees?
Well, we were, he was there with his girlfriend at the time, who later became his wife. And it was winter, and somehow we had gotten a New Vrindavan pamphlet kind of thing. You know, it said spiritual commune, you know. And so we decided we were going to join that.
New Vrindavan in the winter.
New Vrindavan well, it was down south. We thought maybe it'll be warm down there, you know.
1970 or whatever.
Yeah.
There was nothing there but cow fields and mud.
Yeah, 1970. Went down there, hitchhiked. We had a Ford Falcon, I remember. And there was a hole on the passenger side on the floor. You could see the road going by. And halfway down, the car broke down, you know. And Sanjay said, he said, this is Maya trying to stop us. He goes, but we're not going to stop. And I go, okay. So he undid the license plate from the car and threw him into the snow. And then we left the car there and hitchhiked. Separately, he went with his girlfriend, and then I hitched and got there that evening, you know.
And so roughly what year was that, and what was that like?
That was January 1st, 1971.
And what was that like, the New Vrindavan in those days? And what was
Well, you know, I hitchhiked a ride, and the guy dropped me off, and he goes, you got to go up this road, stay to the right, don't go to the left. That was the old, you know, Agasora road, they called it. And so I did, and it was snowing. It was pretty deep, and I got to the top, and I looked across this ridge because the road went around like that, and the old temple was there. And so I saw somebody over there, and they said, Hare Krishna. And I go, Hare Krishna. So then I started walking, and then there was another person that was there, and they were cutting wood, you know, and they go, Hare Krishna. I go, Hare Krishna. Then I kept walking, and another Mataji walked by, and she said, and then I thought, wow, man, that's all they say is Hare Krishna. It's like, you know, that's like the perfect saying. You just say Hare Krishna. So then I knocked on the door, and Hari Griva's wife was there. She opened the door. She goes, Hare Krishna. I go, Hare Krishna. I knew that was what to say. And then these two kids, they were maybe 10 or 11. They were there, and they came up to me, and they go, do you eat meat? No, they go, do you eat cows? And I go, no. They go, well, you're lucky, because you'd have to take birth for every hair on their body. I go, oh, okay. So then I realized, you know, they didn't just say Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
That's how I found that out. And that's where I went. I only stayed for a week because it was too cold. And I thought, I'm going to go to California. And I'd given all my money to Kirtananda that I had because I was going to surrender, you know. So he gave me back $10.
That was the bus fare in those days to get you out to
Yeah, right. But I hitchhiked and got arrested in Columbus for hitchhiking. And then when I got out, this guy gave me a card, and it was for the Krishna temple. You know, I said, I'm trying to find a place to stay. And he gave me the card. And so I went to the Krishna temple, and I ended up staying there, and that's where I shaved up and joined.
in Columbus.
Yeah, Columbus. And then they sent me in the basement for something a few days later, and there was a guitar down there, an acoustic guitar, like a classical, you know. So when I came back up, I said, hey, there's a guitar down there. And the devotee said, oh, do you play? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, go get it. We'll use it in the kirtans. So that was my, I'd given away all my instruments when I went to join, because I thought you got to get rid of your material stuff. And that's the concept you had of material stuff. So when I got there, I got my guitar back somehow, a guitar. So.
How did you end up from there on the road show? And how did that whole thing get started?
Well, the road show, what happened was after a while, I wrote a song, Lord Chaitanya's Moon is Rising, and Kirtananda came to Columbus to do a radio show, interview. And so Kaladri was driving him, and Kaladri heard me playing the song up in the Brahmacharya ashram. So he had me play it for Kirtananda. And he said, I like that. He goes, I want you to come with me to the radio show and play that song, and then I'll talk. So I did that. And then later that year, they said they had the temple president there told me that Kirtananda wanted me to go to New Vrindavan to join a road show and play music, So that's what I did. And that's it. And we headed out. We just had, I don't remember if we even had a bus at that point. I think we just had vans, but I can't say for sure. And we came to Florida, Gainesville, as a matter of fact. That was first we went to Atlanta and then Gainesville. And we hung out here for a while and started, mostly the road show in those days was Kirtananda giving a lecture. I'd play Lord Chaitanya's Moon is Rising, we do some kirtan, and then he'd give a lecture and we pass out prasadam. That was kind of all. That's what we did. And then when Vishnu John joined in Baton Rouge, when the buses had broken down there, one of the buses, the axle broke. And Harikesh was driving the front bus, and he led us down this dead end. And so there was a field there, and so he thought, oh, we'll just, go around in the field. But the bus hit a hole and broke the axle. So we were stuck in that field for a while when they went to get parts to, fix it. And that's when Vishnu John joined the road show. And there was a bar across the street. Purple Willie's was the bar. And Vishnu John came up to me and he said, I got us a gig at the Purple Willie's. I go, really? What are we going to play? He said, just whatever songs we have. And I said, well, we don't have that many specific individual songs. I think we did have, I don't know if I had written O Govinda there with Jamadagni's lyrics yet. But we went and we played, and he said, he said, you can just make up some words and chant Hare Krishna. I said, okay, so that's what we did. And we also, he wanted the deities to be on stage. So Shalavati was in charge of the deities, and she was against that, She said, oh, we can't do that, But he said, yeah, we should do it. So the deities were there, and we were playing, and then Shalavati brought in an offering. And Vishnu John said to the people, we are going to make, God has given us so much, now we're going to give back to him and offer him these nice foods that were prepared. And he was very good at talking to everybody. And then he said, I'd like you to please bow your heads and pray with me. So I'm looking out in the, the audience, and these guys at the bar are putting their beer down, and they're like bowing their heads, And I'm thinking, wow, this is like, so he said his prayer, and then we played, and he distributed he said, ask the owners, okay if we hand out some of the stuff, and he goes, oh yeah. So we served prasadam to the people, and there it was.
And then it progressed from there, the road show, you started to do bigger programs.
Well, it just became more theatrical. Later then we went and played at Syria Mosque for Prabhupada. He came there to hear and gave a nice lecture, So, yeah, we did all those kinds of
And
things.
the idea with the roadshow was to spread or, share Krishna consciousness in a way that people could relate to.
Yeah, with the arts, performing arts. Performing arts, it was a more serious attempt at trying to preach with performing arts. So that was nice. There were some actors there, and they wrote a little play, and we did songs. We had a whole band, and it was nice. And Jamadagni, who I co-wrote quite a few songs with, and when I say co-wrote, we only actually ever co-wrote one song together. That was High Low, when we were living in Big Bear in California. But I would just take his poems, and then he'd say, "What do you think about this poem?" And so then I'd write something for it. And so he was there, and in Tampa, I remember. And that's where he introduced himself to me. So that we started our friendship there, sort of, But he was never really that consistent of a roadshow guy. He would appear and then disappear, Sometimes he was there, sometimes he was gone. He was more of a free spirit,
Any favorite memories or pastimes that you remember from the roadshow that, stood out?
Well, the Syria Mosque, where Prabhupada, the back doors opened. It was all dark in there. The back doors opened, and the light came through, and Prabhupada was standing there. And we were playing, so that was...
And what did Prabhupada think about your style of sharing Krishna consciousness with the arts and contemporary music? There was some controversy.
Well, he was tapping his cane to the music, so I think he liked that part of it. Yes. Yeah, well, later, the real problem was that we would pull into a temple, and then when we left, we had, 3 or 4 brahmacharis with us from the last temple we were at. So that wasn't favorable for the temple presidents. They didn't like that. And the fact that they said we were collecting in their area, which we also did. So I think that disruption was, what the problem was. Although when Tamal did it, nobody said anything. He had a personality where you didn't, object.
Right.
So.
You had asked Prabhupada at one point about, should you play music, guitar, singer, songwriter.
Oh, and when I was going to do the Change of Heart album, he was recording, and I asked him I said I had these songs I wanted to show him. So he looked at them, and he said, "What is this?" And I said, "These are my songs." And he said, "What is this for?" And I said, "Just so people can hear the philosophy and the chanting." And so that was the album, that we ended up doing. And he said, what's the difficulty? And I said, well, the big men say that it's Maya. And he just smiled and said, let the cows moo. And then I said, so I can do it? He said, do it, it'll be successful. So that's
this was the first album. This was your first, studio album, the recording.
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
And some of the songs were Jamadagni's poems.
Yeah, 3 of them. Yeah, Change of Heart, Sweta Dweep, and O Govinda. And then the other ones, Gaudy and I kind of co-wrote this. He had written it, and then I just finished it, Bhagavad Gita. And then Seers of the Truth, I use words from Bhakti Vinod for that. And then the other songs, Beyond Illusion, Questions, You're Not That Body, Time for Going Home, those are ones that I did myself. And I had I think I had written Lover of the Lord by then, but I'm not sure. But I know I had another song, but I didn't use it.
So what was the, for those of us who didn't grow up with in this era, what was the idea? What was, recording an album, and was it for mass distribution, for,
Well, I was just doing it as a householder.
Yeah.
That was my idea, and so the money was donated to Krishna Kanti and I to do it. We had he had the Golden Avatar Studios, and we would record, local. I mean, some, like not the Four Tops, but I'm trying to remember the name of those guys. They came in.
Oh, okay. So
different people came in. Yeah, that's how we paid for equipment.
Okay.
And the rent and stuff like that. And then when Prabhupada came, we recorded Prabhupada, so we had a facility to do that, And so that was the idea.
And did you have session musicians play on here? Were there some devotee musicians?
There were. Yeah, the basic tracks were Krishna Kanti and myself for some of the songs, and Duryodhana Guru played drums, and I think that was the basic thing that we had. And then we had devotees come and sing the back, so if we needed a choir, like on Sweta Dweep, we had everybody, I don't know how many times, I think we only had maybe 5 or 6 people there, but they were chanting japa on a key, like Hare Krishna. We gave them a note to chant, and then we had them do a different thing. And then this was all the idea really of David Stout, for the Sweta Dweep. I mean, I didn't have any idea. He came and he said, I have an idea to put chanting. You guys chanting the mantra. And so I said, okay. And so he came up with that whole intro, It was really quite ingenious, I thought.
Yeah. It's very orchestral.
Yeah. So anyways, those were the... Now, I will say this. If you look at this, it says, all selections written by Michael Cassidy, which is not true. However, and we weren't going to do that, but they came to the studio. I forget which lawyer it was. I think it was the one that's here, maybe. I can't remember his name, the older guy. But they came and they said, we want you to sign this. I said, what? He goes, we want the rights to the thing. So I didn't want to do that. And I said, I can't sign it. John Madagni, wrote, several of these songs himself. And they said that didn't matter. Just put your name. Mm-hmm. So that way they didn't have to ask him to have the right to do that, So that's what happened. I'm sorry about that, but I explained it to John Madagni later, so he was fine with it.
So then it became an item that devotees would then distribute?
Yeah, it wasn't really meant to do that, I'll be honest with you. Prabhupada said, I just wanted to do these, That was the purpose of it. Mm-hmm. But when Rameshwar said that he was going to be our partner in it, I thought that's what it was, but he had this idea to distribute it, with the devotees, which, I guess that was okay. I think it raised money, at least, for temples, The only thing is, and then later they, decided I couldn't get any, when I asked Rameshwar for money to do the next album, he said, just get somebody to donate it like the last one. So I did ask somebody. I asked my father-in-law, and he gave it to me. Then I went to Hit City West, and
Right.
recorded it there.
Yeah, we're going to get into your other albums in a minute. Do you want to pick a favorite song from here and play it for us, maybe acoustically?
Well, I'd have to play O Govinda because that's what everybody wants to hear.
And that's the second song you ever wrote, apparently, right after Lord Chaitanya's Moon is Rising.
Nope. Lover, Embodiment of Bliss.
Okay.
Krishna, it's not on this album. And that's, I guess, that was the song that I had that I didn't use on this album. And the reason was it didn't really fit. Mm-hmm. It was more of a, it wasn't the same style as the rest of them. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I have an awful memory. So I can play, let me see. How about if I play a verse and a chorus, sure. Something like that. Lord, the sun's effulgence hide your face. Blissful form lies far beyond my eyes. Now your wonders call my heart's embrace. As dawn displays your beauty in the skies. The rainbow reveals the way you dress. The movements of the moon reflect your mind. Your smiling is the cause of happiness. And love exists because you are so kind. Oh, Govinda, within my heart, celestial herdsman, lotus-eyed one, your precious gift of love impart. Oh, you who stand behind the sun, you're the one. You're the one in my heart, in my heart, in my heart. There you go. How about that? I didn't warm my voice up yet today, but.
So, does that bring you back to when you wrote that song and where you were in that part of your life or at that time?
That was a long time ago, but it was in Tampa. That's where Jamadagni, said, "Here's the song I have," and he also at that time played. He had an idea for the music on. There is a light. Yeah. And so, and I kind of just took that and finished the melody of it. So that's a song where he actually wrote the lyrics and co-wrote the music with me. Or I co-wrote it with him, really. He had the idea. So anyways, that was back in the Tampa area. But when I actually finished the song, I can't say, okay, now it's done, But Jamadagni was a real inspiration for me because he was such a good writer. I had written songs myself before then, Sunday Kind of Love. Actually, one of my songs that I wrote, I finished after I was a devotee, and that was... Changed my way of living. Mm-hmm. And so I'd written some songs, but he was just so expert at writing, So I was quite inspired by that. And then I took writing courses and studied writing, in books, and took the BMI writing course and the ASCAP writing course, and went to sessions with other writers in
So there's
LA.
actual courses on how to write songs for.
Oh yeah, I know, and I would encourage any devotee, because devotees write me and they go, I want to write songs. What do you think about this? So I think and I encouraged this one Mataji who wanted to write, and I said, just write a love song. Just write a regular love song. Because when you write and you add all these spiritual things, the problem with that at first is that you're leaning on those and you think, oh, this is great because it says this. But it's not necessarily constructed correctly. So you want to just try to write a song where if you played it for your mother, she'd go, oh, that's a beautiful, or, a friend or something. Yeah. And then start to write philosophical songs. Writing philosophical songs or Krishna conscious songs, you have to realize a few things. One is either you're going to write about something that you've just heard and you want to repeat it, or you're writing about something that you've heard and understood, and now you're writing it from that perspective, or you're writing about something you've realized, and you're writing it like that. So there's different levels of writing and you have to write it in such a way that that's the point of view you're coming from, or it won't be very convincing.
Mm-hmm. And I guess, your whole, if I had to come up with a theme for this interview, it's sharing Krishna consciousness through conventional music and lyrics that people can relate to.
Whatever your culture is.
Yeah.
That's my point, and I mean, I remember when they did the Garland of Songs. Mm-hmm. Remember that album?
For Prabhupada's Centennial, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought there should have been, songs on there in French and Spanish and, but there was just mostly, it was all English. So I think people should write from the culture that they're in, and write that. That would be, I think it would work better.
So you ended up recording several more albums. Do you want to just briefly take us through some of those and maybe?
Yeah, I did the Change of Heart album. Then I was working on the next album where
you had asked your father-in-law for the money for it.
Right, and I didn't have enough money to do it. So then I went back to Alex. Went back to Alex and I said, the devotees are distributing these albums and it's nice preaching, and I could do an album for you, so you'd have it to distribute.
So that was going to be an album that was actually conceived for mass distribution to share with the public.
It was going to be
distributing it on the streets.
Well, that was what was happening. So I was going with that. So I went back to him. I said, you can have this album yourself and get it distributed. It's a nice preaching project, and they had another preaching thing going on. So he said, okay. So I sold him that album, the Beyond Illusion album. Mm-hmm. All those songs, and I got money to.
There Is a Light is on that album.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I got that to produce. To produce that album. Now, that album has the most Jamadagni poems on it because I didn't have any songs. When I sold the guy the idea, he goes, yeah, I'll do it. Okay, so that got kind of caught me off guard. I only had A Lover of the Lord and Changing the Face of the Earth. Mm-hmm. Those are the only songs I had at that point. So I only had 2 songs. So I went to the Jamadagni poem book and started looking through there, and then I came up with the rest of those songs for that. And then once I had that album done, then I used that money I got from that to finish the Nature's Secret album.
Mm-hmm. Could I ask you to pick your favorite song or one of the favorite songs from that album and just give us a few?
From Nature's Secret album?
From Beyond Illusion.
Beyond Illusion. Right.
You've got There Is a Light, you've got Lover of the Lord.
Yeah, Lover of the Lord probably is the,
Yeah.
I like that one the best, I like the, I would say that's the devotees seem to like it the most, It is a nice song. It's simple.
Sure.
Do you want me to play something from it?
It's rare that we have somebody in here that we're interviewing who, like you, who can play some beautiful songs for us. So.
Oh, okay. Well.
We got a big audience back here, too.
All right. Good. He's a kind and gentle soul, his heart is never cold, so peaceful and poetic, with a message true and bold. He's never seeking praise, so silent and so grave, and his transcendental love is the magic in his ways. And when I see his love, I know I got a long, long way to go. When will I taste the love that he is feeling inside? I forgot how that part goes. Okay. Well, there's a little bit of it for you.
And that song was about Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, that was a song I wrote about Srila Prabhupada. And, that was... Yeah, I did write that after the... while I was doing the... I had that song already done when we were doing the Beyond Illusion album. And Changing the Face of the Earth, too. I did that one. So I had those... And then I just did all the rest of them, from poems from Jamadagni.
And that was recorded at a different recording studio.
Spectrum Studios, Venice Beach.
Okay.
And, that was pretty good. And for Protoplasmic Crud, I went out and got a strawberry milkshake from a place just on the beach there.
And you can hear the bubbles.
Yeah, and that's how I did the
bubbles of the cosmic ocean.
Yeah, right. We put a lot of reverb on it, and so that's how we got that to happen. That was fun.
And at the same time as that album was being recorded, you had already had plans to record your own next album, which is the one that you had borrowed money from
Nature's Secret.
Nature's Secret.
Right. Yeah. And we were doing that one there, and that was at Hit City West. And Andy Wallace was the engineer. Andy Wallace, went on to do just all kinds of giant. He's famous now, But he was just the engineer. Him and his buddy owned that studio. They started it. And he was just a small time. But Steve Bartek from Oingo Boingo, he played the guitar on those, so he was the only other famous guy at that time. But some of the, the guys are on...
One of those songs on that album.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Spirit of Reason. These are Sign of Surrender was some Jamadagni wrote, and Golden Avatar, I used that poem. And Hidden Worlds, and Nature's Secret. So those were the ones. And then the other ones I did. Embodiment of Bliss was the second song that I had written. That was devotional. Krishna consciously devotional.
Yeah.
God was blooming in the orchards and the meadows, and I thanked him then and there, remembering
Yeah, that was fun.
Did
Yeah,
you
Durio Naguru played the drums for me on that album.
Did you have was there a female lead vocalist in there? Because
The background singers.
Background singers.
The background singers were these twins that I put on the cover. Well, I didn't do it, but Murley Dar, he was the artist.
Okay, Murlidhar, yeah.
Yeah, Murley Dar. Yeah, I asked him to make an album cover for me. I said, we want to call it Beyond Illusion. I said, and I have no idea what kind of cover goes on something called Beyond Illusion. So he did the cover of those two twins by a merry-go-round or something, or a Ferris wheel, or I can't remember what he did. So I went along with it. It was a strange idea for a cover, but yeah, we did that. And they were the ones so that was the Beyond Illusion album, but I also had them sing. They started off singing with me on Nature's Secret album.
And then, so Nature's Secret came out, and they were distributing that on the streets along with this album.
Yeah, I told the devotees, that I would do that. So, yeah, that was I was selling like 20,000 a month.
And did you get some royalties from that? Or, I mean, you had to survive and live somehow. I
charged 10 cents more than my cost.
Okay.
And so I think that might have upset, because I undercut Rameshwar and the Change of Heart album. I would think I was charging 78 cents. Yeah.
So you would print the records and then sell them wholesale.
Yeah, I had Rainbow Records was the company in L.A. that
Okay.
They did those. So I did, like, I would do them in 5,000 batches, 5,000 a batch, and I'd usually do about 20,000 in a month.
And then they came to
So
Europe.
I made 20,000 dimes, and that was enough to stay alive in L.A. back in 1977.
And when I was in the early 80s going to Gurukula boarding school in France, in Europe, we were starting to get your albums. I don't know if they were bootlegs or if they were actually sold.
Well, they had Nature's Secret with a swan on the cover. So that was not mine. That was, that was something else. I didn't know about the bootlegs till the internet.
Yeah. And then Take Me Back was your next album?
And then in 1979, I did Take Me Back.
Okay.
And then I just did on a 4-track myself. I didn't use a studio. But I had, pretty famous players on it. That was one thing about being in L.A.
Yeah.
I didn't know who I was getting. The mandolin player and fiddle player that played on that album was like a famous guy.
So you'd basically, you'd book your studio time. You come in with your song, and then there'd be session players or studio musicians. And
yeah, for that one, I had my Golden Avatar studio, which was a studio apartment, in L.A., which at the time I was paying $90 a month for. Now it's probably, off the charts. But and then I just had my 4-track TIAC in there. And then I would call up people, and other people would recommend other players, get this guy, he's good. And then I'd record them there. And then I had a pretty good relationship with Krishna Kanti, so I brought the 4-track to Golden Avatar Studios, and that's where I mixed it. I wasn't going to try to mix it myself on nothing. I didn't have a way to do
so
that.
The actual recordings that you recorded on the 4-track became part of the album, just with
that's all there was. That's
mixing.
all we had, 4 tracks. I'd bounce them down if I had to. Get different people like the Beatles did way back when. Their 4-track recording, and then brought it into Golden Avatar, and Krishna Kanti, did his magic with getting it mixed right and EQing, and I didn't add any reverbs. I did those with him.
He had some pretty iconic songs on this album. Take Me Back, Dr. Frog,
Yeah.
Change My Way of Living, which was an
Yeah.
early song you had written.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you had written or it started before you joined the movement.
Yeah.
Yeah. High Low.
Yeah, that's one that I co-wrote with John Madogny. Up in, and I like Dying to Be Free is maybe one of my favorite songs. You know, it has good philosophy in it. It covers all kinds of things. You know, it's one of my favorite songs.
Do you want to pick one to play for us?
Well, I could pick that one and
Yeah.
play a few bars of that.
And there, you did have a female vocalist on some of those songs.
That was that album I did as sort of like a duo. Other devotees I had come in too, but especially for Change My Way of Living. But Vishnu Priya, I think that was her name then. So she sang. Yeah, a lot of these have two-part harmony songs, especially "Take Me Back."
Yeah.
You know, that's all. Okay, this says that I have a capo on here, but we'll see. I was never born, I'm eternal living soul. I was never born, and I'm never growing old. But by my sinful deeds, I've got this mortal frame. Now I'm a prisoner of the pleasure and the pain. Oh Lord, I'm dying to be free. Yeah, I'm dying to be free. This changing world is tossing like the waves of time. Yeah, I like that song. And it has that middle section. I'll meditate upon your name and do my best to hear it. Rise above the flesh and mind to the free light of the Spirit. Without your mercy, I have no hope to even try to penetrate this universal sky. I like all those lyrics.
Now you've over the years toured around the country and performed these songs in all kinds of places, bars, clubs, campgrounds, like all kinds of places.
Well, Yamini, my late wife Yamini, and I, we formed the Average Soul group in 2003. And so I did 4 albums with her, and we traveled all around, and we played. In 2013, we did our open mic tour, which was, we started off in Maryland and came down and just played, every open mic that we could find. And we had our CDs for sale, and we'd play, and it was good. We reached people.
And, spiritual, devotional music about Krishna conscious topics, basically, but presented in, like when you look at these albums on Apple Music, for example, it's under country music or whatever.
Yeah, I know.
People in the Midwest or whatever, like, oh, it's some country singer or songwriter, and then the lyrics are super spiritual. And do you have any memories of people coming up to you, appreciating the song or like really getting something out of them?
Oh, yeah, I have, and I have a lot of letters. I have letters from people that wrote me, Now, I did get one album back, which was broken in pieces, and it said devil on it, carved into the vinyl.
Oh, no.
So I think a Born Again might have got that copy of it, and when they heard Hare Krishna, they freaked out.
Right.
But I have tons of really appreciative albums, One from a school teacher in Australia who wanted to teach, he was asking if he could have the music for the flute. He taught a class in school, So letters from people in France, all over.
Yeah.
So
Just before you came, I was discussing with Namamrita, who's doing the camera switching and technical stuff. And I was saying, basically, this is just another form of kirtan. We have traditional kirtan with mridanga and kartals and our Sanskrit lyrics. And then this is kirtan with a guitar and some beautiful
this is in
devotional
the
music.
mood of Bhakti Vinod, who wrote songs in his own language
Yeah.
for those people. At that time, that was how he was reaching everybody.
And if we were to take, a group of brahmacharis, monks dressed in saffron robes with mridanga kartals and Sanskrit chants, we might not get into the same venues that you were playing in, touring all over the country, open mic nights, whatever,
Yeah.
And people are able to connect because it's in English. They can understand the lyrics. They're familiar with the guitar and the style of music.
Yeah, and I have some secular songs that I've written when I did the project with Yamini, my late wife. I said I'm gonna, because some songs I'd write a song and I couldn't get it to really be what I wanted it to be in a spiritual thing. So I did it as a secular song, and then I just included that. So. Somebody might hear a song like, I remember we played here at Hale Market. And somebody, after we played, somebody came up and said, what album has that Do What You Gotta Do song on it? And so I gave it to him. But it also has Hare Krishna on it. Yeah. So, there was a devotee in San Diego when we went there to play, and he said that his name was Bhakti Mark, I think, and he had been coming to temple for years. He said, when I brought the Change of Heart album to my house and started playing it, all my brothers and sisters and parents, they all made fun of it, Hare Krishna, they were, he said, but then he goes, after a month, they were kind of humming along with the melodies. He goes, and then after a few months, they all came with me to the temple. So yeah. I thought, that's the success that Prabhupada was talking about.
Yeah, we struggle sometimes here in North America connecting with the average person on the street. It's one thing to preach to people from India who already know everything about our culture, right?
Right.
And to get them to come to the temple. It's a whole other story trying to reach and connect with average Western Americans and spread Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, especially at this time.
Yeah.
Back in the 60s and 70s, it was a little easier because there was a counterculture movement, and so people were curious. What is this? This is counterculture.
They're into Eastern spirituality. But now times have changed.
Yeah, times have changed. But our band just played, MC and the Wayback Band played at the Great Outdoors. And I did a whole section, the first maybe 6 songs, just myself. And then the band came up and we did the rest of that set of original music. And the owner was very impressed and hired me back this Friday, I think. Is it this Friday I'm playing there?
Yeah. He said he heard the song. These songs seem so familiar.
Yeah, he liked them. So there you go. So I think it is a way to connect with people.
Super soul connection, right? Because like O Govinda, it's like if you're talking to the super soul practically,
Yeah, that's what the song is. Right?
People have some intuition that if they're at all spiritual, whether they're Christian or whatever. So then they hear the lyrics and it's like, wow, there's some connection there.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, one person at the gig said, these people are going to go home and feel good. They won't know exactly why. I said, well, that's okay,
Yeah. Trying to Connect with You, how did that album come about? That was a more recent album.
Yeah, I was living in Nashville at that time. And I I was just, working on writing songs. And I don't know, at one point I just decided to, start working on these. And I wrote, that album is a curious album because every song on it was written in the exact order that it appears in the album. I just wrote one song after the other. Not in a few days, but I mean, I'd work on one song, then I'd have another song, and that's how they came out. Yeah. Yeah, I love that album. I think it's a lot of fun.
And the title track, Trying to Connect with You, is trying to connect with God, with Krishna, right?
Right. Yeah, that's what that's about. That's the Hare Krishna. And we had a nice devote. I recorded that. I did a lot of the recording in Nashville, and then I went to Uddhama Shloka's house in L.A., and we overdubbed things, I had already programmed all the drums and the bass parts. And then we did vocals there and the other sweetening, the sax and flute and stuff like that. Had Gayatri played trumpet on it. And then we brought in the devotees, called up Karnamrita. She was at the temple there. We said, get some devotees together. We need some. So she said, okay. And then she just rounded up these people, and then they came over and we recorded the Trying to Connect with You kirtan part of it.
Is there a favorite song from this album that you could play for us, a few bars?
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah. Some of these songs, like that album was, 2002, so that's my newer album. And I would like to say this for the music geeks out there.
Right here.
Okay. Well, back when I was a kid, the most popular progression was 1 chord to the 6 chord to the 2 chord to the 4 chord. All those songs.
Yeah.
So I just had this idea to just play, start on the 5 chord and do it in Mixolydian mode and just play that progression backwards. So that's what I did. Raised on frosted flakes and howdy doody, Little Richard singing tutti frutti, Sunday school and Wonder Bread, Santa Claus and the Grateful Dead. Yeah, I don't know all the words to that one, but anyways, I like that song, and I like that progression. I thought it came out, it was fun.
You have a band now.
Yeah, well, we have a band. It's called MC and the Wayback Band, and we're in a little bit of a transitional stage right now. So mostly right now, I'm just playing solo. We still have a gig coming up.
Yeah, at a 55.
55 plus, retirement day in Gainesville. And the band's playing there, but we have to regroup. We're always looking for guitar players, If you know any,
right? If anybody's watching,
if anybody's watching,
guitar players over there. You talked a little bit about advice for the younger generation because you have people who ask you about songwriting and things.
Yeah.
You were mentioning about taking some courses in writing.
Like anything, if you're going to be a painter or a sculptor, you take some classes on it to become proficient at it, and you have to do that with songwriting. Just because you can speak English doesn't mean you can write a song, you know. And composition, you know.
Yeah.
Imitation, reflection. You have to learn all the ideas of how to compose, create a melodic contour that's interesting, and you have to study these things. Did anybody in the Rolling Stones ever do that? No. But it's good to, you know, some people just have a natural talent, but it's good to study things. Even if you have a natural talent, it's good to study things and become an expert at what you're doing. You know, it's, if you want to, because part of it is you want to, if you have attachment for something, then you want to dedicate that to, for Krishna's service. And to do that, you have to, it's not a hobby. You know, if you want to be able to give up your attachment to it, you have to do it.
Yeah, I mean, engaging your nature, your talent, abilities that Krishna gave you.
Yeah, that's it, you know.
Using that and engaging it in service. Not everybody's going to be an expert, whatever, preacher in the traditional sense, or giving lectures or whatever, you know.
Right, exactly.
Some people have musical ability and they can serve Krishna with that.
Yeah. But they should be serious about it if it's going to be a service, you know. So, you know, work at it. You know, the people that, if you're going to do that for Krishna, be expert at it. If you're going to cook for the deities and all the devotees, you got to be good at it. If you're not, they're not, they'll complain about it. You know, so it's the same thing with music, or songwriting, or painting, or story writing, or whatever your, you know, talent is. Just like you guys are doing this podcast, you're serious about it. You know how to do it. You got everything set up. It's a fabulous studio.
Small, cozy, but it works.
Yeah.
I tried to pick that room furthest away from the traffic noise, basically.
Oh, yeah. No, it's expert. I love it.
If you had all the money in the world and access to the best musicians, you know, vision-wise, you know, what would you do?
Well, I'm trying to right now, I've got a devotee who's talking to the music department at the university. I said, tell them that we have an album. It's the 50th anniversary this year. And see if you can convince somebody there that a good project for their students would be to write out the charts for the instrumentation on the album.
Okay.
And we could perform it at the Performing Arts Center.
With an orchestra.
With an just the way it was recorded, so that would be fun. You know, it's
Change of heart.
Change of heart, 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
Krishna houses.
Yeah, somebody at the Krishna house.
Nice.
There was a Advaita was interested in the idea. I told it to him, and he said, well, I'm going to get somebody to see if we can talk to somebody. So, you know, if I had a facility to do that, that's what I would probably do, just because it would be fun. And it would be fun for a lot of devotees to get to go to that and hear it, you know.
I came across a mainstream band I found out started out as a Christian band, and then I found out through some research that the Christian church and Christian groups across the country, they have music schools or in their own private colleges and whatnot, where they train people to do worship music, and they train people to do, basically, if you're young and you're talented and you want to start a rock band, they'll train you up so you can spread the gospel through.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're so good at it. You know, they've been doing it for so long.
And I'm just surprised that there aren't more people amongst our, young people in the Hare Krishna movement. It's great that they want to play mridanga and harmonium and everything, but if they have some talent on the guitar or, some of the contemporary instruments, and they can sing and
Yeah.
glorify Krishna in the English language. There's so much opportunity out there, as your life has illustrated.
Yeah.
Just traveling
Yeah.
from place to place and sharing your music with people.
Well, that's a good idea. See who you can talk to somebody about.
We need a Hare
Yeah.
Krishna University with a school of music attached to it.
Yeah. Well, there's music departments, and devotees just have to feel they could do that.
Yeah.
But part of it is you do have to have songs, and now Uddhama Shloka, I don't know if you know Uddhama Shloka, he used to be in charge of the Chicago temple way back when. But he sent me a AI version of O Govinda by the, what was the name of that band? It was like the
A made-up AI band, I guess.
yeah, the new Brahmachari ashram, the new Bhakti ashram or something like that, and it's these 4 or 5 guys, and they have an AI version of O Govinda that's kind of folk
Reggae.
thing, and then they have an 80s version of it, which I didn't like, personally, Govinda, it was just, but the other one was pretty good, so who knows, some of that might happen. I don't know what to say about it. I think AI is in one sense, is the death of self-expression. Self-expression is you saying what you want to say.
Yeah.
But as far as taking something that's there and then repackaging it, I think there's some value in that.
And
possibly.
you said that you've done that with some of Bhaktivinoda Thakur's lyrics, taken those and turned them into beautiful songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, yeah, I don't know what to think about all that just yet, but...
We've talked a lot about Mangalananda, the singer-songwriter. There's a Mangalananda, the private Mangalananda, who's not when you're not on stage.
Right.
The grandfather, cook, apparently. Do you want to share anything from that perspective? How did you end up becoming a cook?
I think that I was cooking before I came to the temple. And when I was in like I said, I joined in New Vrindavan, but I ended up really moving into the temple in Columbus. And they needed a cook. But the first time I cooked was, the devotee there was, he died in a car accident. I can't think of his name right now. But anyways, he was a nice guy. And I was there, and he said, okay, we're going to a James Taylor concert in, where's the university there?
Dayton?
No.
Columbus?
Not Columbus. The one where the Krishna house is now. There's a Krishna house. What's that?
Akron?
Athens.
No, Athens.
Athens, okay.
He goes, we're going to a James Taylor concert in Athens, and I need you to make some halava. And I said, I don't even know what that is. He goes, I'm going to show you how to do it. So he's got this pot, and he puts like a pound of butter in the pot, I'm like, my God, And then he puts in the 4 cups of halava, and he gets this other pot with the sugar, and he's pouring it in there with the raisins. And so I sit there and watch him do the whole thing. And then he has me do it, so I do it. And then he gets this trash can, it's a new one. It's for prasadam. So he takes it and he puts it in there. He goes, now just keep making this till it's full.
Wow.
I said, okay, so now, at this point, it's 9 o'clock at night. Everybody's going to bed, and Bhakti Mike is making the halava. So I did that, but, I have to say around 11:30, because I had gotten up from Mongol Arctic. So I'm really getting tired. So I'm just melting the butter, put the farina in, and I stir it, and I don't toast it. I just kind of stir it so it's all in there. Then I make it, and then I put it until it was full. So the next day we're at the concert, and we had paper cups with a spoon.
Mm-hmm.
He said, get me some of the halva. So I get it out, and I put it in there with a spoon, and he goes, did you roast these grains? I go, a little bit. He said, well, it's sweet and buttery. Everybody will like it. So that was my first cooking job.
And then on the road show, you became the cook.
Yeah, on the road show, I became the cook. Then I started cooking for a bit there. And then when there was an accident, and these devotees, several of them died in this thing. And so they kind of closed the temple temporarily. Hari Griva was still there because he was teaching in the university. And they had us go to Columbus. Not to Columbus, to Cleveland.
Okay.
So in Cleveland, I was the regular head cook there. And so I got a lot of cooking experience there. And then when I joined the Rojo, Kirtananda taught me a lot of things. He was a good cook.
Khichdi and breadsticks.
Well, that was the main thing. Yeah, it was simple. Khichdi, breadsticks, and yogurt. I made those things.
And then when you moved to L.A., you became the cook again.
When I went to New York, when the Rojo ended, I was in New York, so I stayed there. And I was working on songwriting. They said that would be okay. But that only lasted a couple of weeks. And they said, we need you in the kitchen. So then for a while I was in charge of the kitchen there. And then everywhere I went back to New Vrindavan, I was in charge of the kitchen there. And then I decided I wanted to go to Dallas because I thought, okay, I'll be around some of the teachers there. I get more into the philosophy. And so I went down there, and when I walked in to the temple, I forget who was the president. He goes, Mangalananda, we need a cook. You got here just in time. And so I was the cook there, Yeah. And then when I got to L.A., I was the cook too, so.
Got to have something to keep you busy in between writing the songs.
Yeah, right. So that was...
and it gives pleasure to the devotees when you feed them nice prasad.
Yeah. Well, when you're a cook, you're a hero or not. Just depends,
If
if everything works out fine, you're the hero.
If you burn the khichdi, then you're not.
Yeah, if you burn the sweet rice. I remember one time I was making the sweet rice, and I was trying to do everything for the feast. And, I had a pot this big, so then I thought, and I went there, and I had burnt the sweet rice. Not too bad. So I added cinnamon, cardamom, and I go, and I put a little vanilla in. And then I decided, okay, I got it, And then some devotee walked through, and he went, hey, I think you burned the sweet rice. So I had just fooled myself into thinking that it was okay.
Yeah. Do you still cook? Is he still?
No.
Never? Don't tell Mukhya that he knows how to cook.
Well, it's been a while since I've made,
I don't really let him. So.
I think Sunanda made a cookbook with quantity recipe, But I would, it's been a while since I did it. You end up having different recipes when you're cooking for, over 100 people.
Do you have any other hobbies or interests besides your music?
We're taking dancing classes.
For exercise purposes, we're taking ballroom dancing, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, all of a sudden it's been an hour you've been, moving around. So that's good exercise. And it's fun. It's musical. You have to listen to what's going on, But Mostly I'm just involved in music. That's what I do. And songwriting. I just wrote finally.
Oh, it was a great
Haven't-
song. A
haven't-
new song you wrote.
Wait, who's doing this interview? Yeah, so I just wrote another song, so that was kind of fun. But it was just a fun song about going to open mics.
You want to take us out at the end of the interview with a song, any song of your choice, anything you want to?
Sure.
If people want to buy your music and they want to connect with you, where do they go?
Well, CDs have become, people don't like CDs anymore for some reason. So I have downloads, but people mostly want to stream things. So.
And when they buy it on Apple Music, do you get a portion of that somehow?
No, streaming, you get a hundredth of a cent sometimes. That's all you get, Like last month, I think I had 1,800 streams, and I got $7 and something, So there's no more income for, you have to just. But fortunately, I'm retired. I have Social Security, so I can just play and not worry about money that much.
And if Devotee Festival organizers want to book you for an event and have you perform?
Yeah, they do that. I played at the Prabhupada Festival there and was invited to play for that. So, yeah, I'm available for these kinds of things. I don't like to do Rath Yatras so much, because there's too much going on. I'm more of an intimate kind of songwriter. If I do that, if I have a full band, that's different.
If there's an indoor event and it's some sort of fundraiser or whatever, and there's an audience in chairs that's listening.
Yeah, that's better for me as a single person. Yeah. As a band, we could do those kind of bigger events, and I think have an impact on it.
And how do people contact you?
My manager's here.
They can actually. We have. I'll give you one of our cards.
We have.
We can put the information in the description underneath.
Okay,
the
there you go.
We're
Well, that would be
using,
nice. That would be nice.
The band site. We have Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Bandcamp. And
Facebook, Instagram, Bandcamp, the band's website.
Here's the card.
Yeah.
But it's
He's
my phone
gonna put it on there, sweetie.
Go ahead.
Oh, he wants it.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Thank you. Yeah, and we'll MC and the Wayback
Yeah,
Band.
they just contact me.
Hippies made folks nervous. We were gypsies with a purpose. We refused to scratch the belly of the beast. We vowed to right the wrong. There was conviction in our songs. I believe we were on the road to love and peace. But the best laid plans of my Sandman were shattered once again. This old world don't spin on a blind man's point of view. It ain't about me, it's all about you. You're the reason false is false and true is true. You're the reason red is red and blue is blue. It don't matter what I thought I knew. It ain't about me, it's all about you.
And if I could ask you for a special favor and an encore, Lord Chaitanya's Moon is Rising, if you don't mind.
Lord Chaitanya's Moon is
For
rising.
the first song you wrote in Krishna consciousness, and the first song that was played on those road shows in the early days.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's been covered by different people, like this little children's band in Africa, apparently.
Oh, they have a different version of it. Yeah, they do. Yeah, I would say that if I knew I was going to play this song, I would have brought my guitar that's tuned down a half step. Lord Chaitanya's moon is rising. No, it's not at all surprising that we're singing in the street, telling everyone we meet we're going home. We're going home. There's a golden moon overhead now. We must serve Chaitanya somehow. He's the golden avatar. Spread the names of Krishna far to every town, to every single town. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This world is dark and full of sorrow, but there will come a bright tomorrow when we sing the holy name in praise of He who came for everyone, each and every one. Lord Chaitanya's moon is rising. Oh, it's not at all surprising that we're singing in the street, telling everyone we meet we're going home. Yes, we're going home. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mangalananda.
There you go. You can fade out with the Hare Krishna.
It's been an honor. I'm picturing a tie-dye parachute, Radha Damodar, Mangalananda, Vishnu John, you know, a bunch of devotees. At some point, I think Vishnu John got people to come up and, you know, like evening artik and all the people putting flowers on the deities, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was part of the whole show. Like the deities were part of the event and
Oh, yeah.
engaging the
Radha
crowd.
Damodar. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a wonderful time, really.
Thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me. I hope everything's okay.